So today I'm up here at Mt Charleston, going for a little hike. Haven't been to this spot for like a year. It's one of my favorite places to go. I don't know that this trail actually has a name, but I've seen a little copper plaque at the top of this that says it's the Copper Top Trail, so it kind of runs parallel to the North Loop Trail. The North Loop Trailhead is just basically around this ridge right here, and this little trail goes in like a, I guess you call it like a ravine. Been coming up here for years. It's one of my favorite places to go up here. Not many people know about this place, so it's just quiet and it's pretty. So sometimes I like to come up here and just get away, have a little solitude, just me in the woods, no family. Sometimes I drag the family up here. My wife likes to come up here, but the kids aren't really all that excited about it. You know, typical teenagers, I guess. It's not really too strenuous, but the first part of it's kind of just going in between these rocks, and when the snow melts, this is where it runs off, so walls kind of go up on both sides. Used to come here with my parents a long time ago too. That's how I discovered the spot. So we'll check back in later. Tall tree. So that really green place, kind of in the center of the frame there, that's a place called Nami Springs. I like to hike up there. The North Loop Trailhead, which kind of starts way down there, and it's like the other side of this ridge. It takes you to a junction up there, and you can make a right and follow a trail for, I don't know, half a mile or something, and you get up to Nami Springs, which is that green area over there. It's just a little bit of water leaking out of a rock, basically, and I surmise it's because of snow melt that kind of, like, I don't know, soaks in the ground. It gets into like maybe a little cavern or a cleft in the rock or something, a fissure, and it collects in there and just kind of leaks out. And even in the middle of summer it'll be dripping a little bit, so I'm sure wildlife will drink out of it and stuff. And there's actually some cabins up in here. And then looking that way is kind of towards Lee Canyon around these hills. And then down there is a dry lake bed and the Nellis Air Force Base range. And so, like last July, this is the road that's down here. It's kind of hard to see, but that road, I went on this road last July. Brought my bike up here, and you notice the altitude a little bit. I'm probably about 9,000 feet right here, or 800 or something like that. So the air's a little thinner. I noticed it a bit, especially since I haven't been up here for a year. So yeah, this is one of my favorite places to go in the summer to get away from the Vegas heat. So that's sort of half-bald cliff, I guess we'll call it, is Mummy Mountain. Don't know why they call it Mummy Mountain, but it's kind of cool when you're on the North Loop trailhead to walk by it. It's pretty substantial. I'm not sure how tall that is from the top to the where the trailhead is, but it's fairly impressive. So this is, I'm kind of doing this backwards. When I came here, I started up the ravine and I went up the hill to the ridge where I would normally be coming down, but I'm kind of doing this backwards today, so. It's very peaceful up here. Sometimes the wind can be kind of blowing through here, but today it's relatively still. Further up there'll be some fairly old bristlecone pines, which I'll show you when I get there. One thing I find interesting about Mt Charleston is the really big variability between bristlecone pines. Like some of them will be kind of tall and skinny if they're protected from, you know, I guess it depends on what the prevailing winds are up here in the winter and stuff, but it seems like the more sheltered ones will grow kind of more like a traditional pine tree, and then as you get up higher, like you'll see up here on the ridge line as we go up, they get shorter and much more gnarled looking. There goes a bird. I've seen a few. That's still a little ways ahead, so when we get there I'll show you what I mean. So the further you walk up this ridge line, the more gnarly the bristlecones look. Like this one here directly in front of me. I have no idea how old it is, but you know, it could be like 1,500 years old or something, judging by the size of it. These old bristlecones often look like this. They look kind of half dead. And then like half the tree will have a bunch of nice green, you know, nice green needles on it. And the other half will be like dead branches. And I guess I got up here too late to see the blooms, but this has little pine cones on it. Some of them have matured and opened up already. The further we go up, the more gnarly they get. So I'm almost at the top of the ridge here. I'll check back in when I get there. I don't know, I've never noticed this one before, but that's got to be the most odd bristlecone I've ever seen. Yeah, it's apparently growing out of the rocks, and at the top are the needles. Now that is kind of a trippy looking bristlecone. See, and then if you go a little further down here, the other side of this cliff, this little small cliff, there's a bristlecone down there. You see how they grow taller and thinner when they're sheltered from the, I guess, the nasty cold wind in the winter. And now we're kind of to the area where the really old bristlecones are. Well, I'm not really sure how old they are, but they've got to be pretty old. Wouldn't surprise me if they're like 1,000 years old or something. Next time I go up to Nami Springs, I'll have to do a little video of those really cool, really gnarly, very old looking bristlecones. Huh. I don't usually come this way. I usually come from the opposite direction, so I'm a little disoriented about where the old bristlecones are. Well, anyways, here's a baby one again. Nice green needles. I love the way they look. There's another tall, skinny one. That's a young tree. It's probably, I don't know, 10, 20 years old. There's another one. That'd make a nice little Christmas tree. Looks a little sparse, I guess, but... And over there is a cabin. Where is it? Over there. Huh. I wonder if they've cut down some of the old bristlecones. I don't see the ones that I remember. And as you can see, probably the U.S. Forestry Service come up here and cut down a bunch of the dead trees relatively recently, because that sawdust looks pretty fresh. Well, that kind of sucks. Well, I guess the next time that I can really show the big variability in bristlecone poundings is when I go up to Nami Springs the next time. So, I don't know, that'd probably be in the next couple of months. But, yeah, there's Nami Peaks right over there. Can't see it now because I've hiked up this ridge. But there's been a few times I've come up here. I've seen mule deer down in this little valley that I'm going to hike down. One time I was up about in this area and I saw 3 wild horses up here. Looked like 2 mares and a stallion from what I can tell, and I was totally taken aback. I was like, what the heck are 3 wild horses doing way up here? I mean, normally you'd see them way down there, you know, on that elevation where the dry lake bed is way down there. But I guess they come up here to get water because there is like a little natural spring up here, which we'll get to on the way down. But normally I like to just come up here when we get to this part. I'll go find a seat over there, like on those rocks, and you know, I'll have brought some food with me and I'll eat it, but not today. I was up here for a different purpose. So, yeah, one of my favorite places. Las Vegas is way down there off in the distance. Nice to come up here in the summer. It's like 20 degrees cooler, so yeah. So when you're headed back down this trail, there's like an observatory up on top of this hill over here. I don't know what it's actually called, but you can actually see it from the city of Las Vegas. I actually saw it, when did I see it? I think I was coming back from the Red Rock Scenic Loop the other day, and I looked over this way and I could see that little white thing on top of the hill. The Observatory Dome. So anyways, you know, this is normally what I'd be coming up when I come up here, but today we're going down. So this is what I would normally be going up, but today we're going down this trail instead. So we kind of did it backwards from how we would normally do it. But we're going to end up going back down into this little valley, I guess we'll call it. Down in there. We'll pass by a little natural spring where water just kind of barely seeps out of the ground. And sometimes you can see some mountain columbine flowers. It's nice. They got some various different things up here. Wild roses, mountain holly, several different kinds of pine trees. It's nice out here too. It's very pleasant temperature. I don't have the sun beating on me. I got some cloud cover. The sun's up there in the clouds. And so now we're going to head back down. When I get to that natural spring, if there's anything really to look at, I'll show you what it looks like. So on the trail down, I ran across this little green area, which is where these, I believe they're mountain columbines grow. And actually, there's one right there. They hang upside down. And there's like red ones and pink ones up here. They're really pretty. Yeah, let's see if I can get a picture of the inside. So there's the inside. And right there, there's a tiny bit of water seeping out of the ground. So this is one of the two springs I had mentioned earlier. It's kind of down here in this valley, which we're going to be going down to get back down to the car. So, pretty exciting, huh? Well, it's not really something you expect to see when you're coming up. You know, you hit this patch of green and it's like, oh, what's this? Oh, and actually right here, if you listen, the sound of dripping water. That's what you get here in the desert. It's nice that these mountains are here at all. But you can be for sure that the birds come here and drink water. And I hear a bunch of them right here. They're probably all giving her little warning calls. Hey, there's somebody by the water hole. Anyways, we'll continue down. So, this is the way I was coming up when I started the video. But I climbed up those rocks up there, got to the top of that ridge and followed it up. Oh, and by the way, there's the remains of, I believe, a tree that gets struck by lightning and burned. Anyways, this is like the little I don't know what you call this, a gully, I guess. And my car is just beyond that tree over there. I know, you're saying which tree, right? Anyways, I always thought this was kind of a neat place. It's different than any of the trails I've been on up here. The North Loop trailhead doesn't really have any spots like this. It's pretty cool. Now I can hear the road. Yeah. One thing I hate about Nevada is I swear it's the rockiest place on earth. You go hiking on any trail at Red Rock, it's just constant rocks shifting under your feet. Come up here, it's more rocks. Yeah, I see pictures of mountains or there's trails and it just looks like a dirt path. I'm like, man, why can't I have just a nice dirt path like that? Yeah, it's still a little ways back to the car. But this is basically what you see. And I think I hiked up the top of that ridge to my left before I came up here. This is some very slick rock. Wow. There's a baby bristlecone growing out of the rock right there. How on earth do these trees manage to do that? Really trippy. Some of this rock, it looks like it's been clawed by some creature or something. And you're not supposed to camp up here, but people apparently do anyways. Dangerous. My fear every summer is that this place is going to just all burn up. We had that big fire, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 years ago now. And if this place got all burnt to the ground, I'd be devastated because this is like the only place to go besides Red Rock if you live in Nevada. Well, Valley of Fire, but yeah. So this is back down to the car. It's really just beyond these couple of trees here. So this is what I call, excuse me, whoa. This is what I call the Copper Top Trail, only because I saw a little copper plaque way at the very top that said Copper Top Trail. It was on a tree, and I can't find it anymore. I think I took a picture of it years ago. I have it somewhere, but yeah, see, everywhere you're walking, there's rocks and boulders and sticks and stuff everywhere under your feet. You can make long hikes. How shall I put it? Less than pleasant, especially when you're coming down and your legs are tired and your knees are a little painful. And you gotta try not to fall on your butt because everything is slipping and sliding everywhere you step. Anyways, so here we are. When you go through here, you're back to where I parked. And there's my vehicle. So, thanks for walking with me through the woods. Hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. I certainly need to get out of the city for a bit. And, well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.